Well, for more on the Treasury Secretary's surprise trip to China, we are joined right now on the phone by Stephen Roach. He is the chairman of Morgan Stanley Asia. Stephen, so glad to have you with us.
Good morning, Deirdre.
What did you make of this shift in itinerary, or addition rather, for the Treasury Secretary?
Look, I think it's very encouraging. It's the second in two steps taken by Secretary Geithner, the first to delay the report, and now to sort of take these this olive branch directly to the decision makers in Beijing, and it'll be interesting to see what he gets in terms of a quid pro quo from the leading officials in China.
Stephen, I want to talk about what you think he could get in just a moment, but I want to ask you, I mean, is this a question of pragmatism on a political level, or is this a warming of relations? We know the Chinese premier is due to be in Washington, D.C. next week, so there's a lot of visits, a lot of exchanges.
Well, look, the U.S. Administration, I think, was understandably concerned that we were headed toward a very slippery slope. If they had held to the April 15th deadline and gone out with a currency manipulation verdict on China, that could have unleashed a very dangerous chain of events. So they have averted that, and that is priority number one. The visit of President Hu Jintao next week, I think, was very much predicated on getting some type of standstill arrangement on this front. But the key issue, Deirdre, will be to figure out what now the Congress will do in response to what is likely to be a relatively modest move.
President Obama is facing a lot of pressure from his own party even to use that title, currency manipulator. What do you think Tim Geithner is going to get? What does he need to come home a hero, at least to some, as far as yuan levels go?
Well, I think as your reporter indicated in the segment before this, it looks like the Chinese have wanted to move back to a managed float or a crawling peg, whatever you want to call it, which is sort of the 3 to 4% annualized trajectory they were on from mid-2005 to mid-2008. They don't want to move beyond that. And if the Chinese do go back to that, I think the Treasury Secretary can say that we have accomplished as much as we can at this point by getting China back into a policy of gradual RMB appreciation, which is constructive for the world and constructive for the United States.
So 3 to 4% appreciation is a win for Tim Geithner, but far from the 20% that some in Washington are calling for.
Well, there's a broad bipartisan constituency, especially in the Senate, led by Senators Schumer and Graham, who want somewhere in the 20 to 25% range. There were hearings in front of the House Ways and Means Committee 2 weeks ago that said the currency was undervalued by 25 to 40%. So Washington, the Congress wants big numbers, and China's going to give them a small number, and we'll have to see, how that's reconciled.
Stephen, we thank you so much for your time. Stephen Roach, chairman of Morgan Stanley Asia, joining us there on the phone.